Hi, I'm Claire Hollis and I'm the Head of History at Reigate College. So, why study history at A-level? Well, the best reason is that it's super interesting. The study of human societies in the past allows you to explore a range of fascinating events and processes: religious conflicts, court intrigues, popular protests and revolts, international diplomacy, and long-running social and cultural changes. History at A-level also invites you to address big questions about human behaviour, such as why conflicts emerge and how they can be ended, what makes some political systems descend into chaos and some survive. Many of the things you'll study will have influenced the world we live in today, and many students comment that studying certain topics has made them see the world around them in a different light. The process of studying history will also train you to think in a very specific way, to interrogate and sift through evidence, exploring how far it contributes to your understanding of a particular historical event, to explore how and why different historians have agreed and disagreed about particular questions, and finally to use your own historical knowledge to conduct research and construct historical arguments of your own. So, what will you cover on the A-level history course? You'll have the chance to choose between two different syllabuses if you study history A-level at the college. We refer to these as routes. Route 1 focuses on the themes of authority, ideology and conflict and has a mainly modern focus. For Route 1, we'll cover the British Empire from 1857 to 1967, where we look at themes such as the expansion of the British Empire through processes like the Scramble for Africa, its internal government and organisation, how it affected British society and culture, and how resistance emerged to it from the Indian Great Rebellion of 1857 to the activities of key figures like Gandhi and Mandela in the 20th century. We also look at the Cold War between 1945 and 1991, which covers subjects like the history of Berlin, from its initial partition to the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, key moments of nuclear tension such as the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the proxy wars which break out in Korea and Vietnam. You'll also cover the Tudors in England between 1485 and 1603. This will be covered via the coursework component and will involve preparing a 4,500-word research project on the rebellions that break out in opposition to Tudor rule, from the reign of Henry VII through to the end of the rule of Elizabeth I. The focus for Route 2 is the struggle for supremacy and equality, and it has a mainly early modern focus. So in this route we cover the Tudors in England between 1485 and 1603 as the breadth study. Here we'll look at, for example, at how Henry VII seized the throne at Bosworth and managed to secure Tudor rule, how his son, Henry VIII, broke with Rome and set off decades of religious conflict during the reigns of his children, Edward and Mary, and how Elizabeth I dealt with assassination plots and threatened invasions. We'll also study France in Revolution between 1774 and 1815, where we'll examine topics such as how the reign of Louis XVI collapsed into revolution in 1789, how the revolutionaries then tried to create a new society, which in turn fell into turmoil during the Terror, and how Napoleon Bonaparte then rose to power and created the French Empire that covered most of Europe. And for the coursework component in this route, you'll be covering the civil rights movement in the USA between 1865 and 1980, researching areas such as the role of key leaders like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, presidents like Kennedy and Lyndon B. Johnson, and key events like the Montgomery bus boycott, the March on Washington, and events in Selma. So what skills and interests will you need to be successful as a history student? Well, you'll do well in history if you have a genuine interest in the world and the history of how it has developed, if you enjoy working with others and presenting your opinions, both verbally and in writing. Whichever route you choose, you'll develop both analytical and questioning skills that you'll be able to apply to all manner of circumstances. You'll be asked to analyse primary sources, historical interpretations, and to construct your own arguments in your essays. For this, an interest in reading and writing is essential, as the most successful students read carefully around the subject and hone their skills in constructing written arguments. So what can you do with an A-level in history? Well, history is an extremely well-respected subject and is valued by both employers and university admission staff. It's one of the Russell Group University's so-called facilitating subjects, called this because choosing them at A-level allows for a wider range of options for a degree study. A-level A-level history provides an excellent pathway to degrees such as history, law, English and philosophy. It can also lead to a range of interesting careers, including journalism, law, business, management, the civil service, the heritage industry, and any profession that requires the ability to analyse and synthesise, while effectively and purposefully arguing and presenting a case. As a history student at the college, you'll also have the opportunity to take part in a range of History Extra activities, including residential trips to Paris and Berlin, and day trips to Hampton Court to complement the Tudor England courses, and the National Archives at Kew. On the Paris trip, we travelled to various locations linked to the French Revolution course, such as Versailles, and on the Berlin trip, we travelled to places linked to the Cold War period, such as the Stasi Museum on the site of the Berlin Wall. You'll also have the chance to get involved in both History Extra and debating clubs, offered as part of the college's Activities and Wellbeing programme. The History Extra Club is set up to help you explore aspects of history outside the curriculum. You'll be stretched and challenged by reading additional selected articles, watching historians' discussions, and debating your ideas with other students. If you have any questions about any of this, including queries about entry requirements and assessment, then please do take a look at the history course information on our website, and you should find whatever you need there. Finally, thank you very much for watching.